And so we see in this reading that there is a discretion which is involved in sharing spiritual knowledge. We need to see that somebody is ready for it, and only then we should impart this knowledge, of course. And the reason here is that we all have our own journey from delusion, personal delusion, to enlightenment, and the speed differs for everyone, and the uniqueness differs for everyone. So in the same way, just like a rose, we are unfolding, each one of us, in our own pace. Can we rush the rose to unfold? Can we force the rose to open before its time? No, it won't work. And so he says in this reading that we should be discretionary as to whom we share the knowledge, and we should be sure that that person is ready to receive the spiritual knowledge. Then there is a positive way to see these things, because he says don't share the pearls in front of swine, and in the Bhagavad Gita he says never speak these truths to those, and he gives us beautiful qualities. If we see it in a positive way, that are we ready to receive this knowledge? So first of all he says we should have self-control. And the meaning of self-control is that when we keep on looking outward to fulfill our heart's desires, we are not ready. That energy that moves out has to be channeled inwards to seek the truth. And that is self-control, which means Kriya Yoga, which means meditation, and channeling that energy up towards the spiritual eye, where the truth lies at the spiritual eye. And so he says that further, don't share these truths for people who have no devotion. Now, without the heart's love, we could never find God, because God is love itself. The thing is, we cannot find God by the intellect alone. If I would try to explain things to a person, they would not understand. It is the opening of the heart and the development of the heart's love which really helps us understand and contact God. So here he says that we should have our hearts open and develop that heart's love, just as Sri Yukteswar said in his famous book Holy Science. Without love, we cannot take even one step in front of the other in the spiritual path. Then he goes on to say, do not share these truths with those who do not render service. Now, there was a great saint. Her name was Saint Bernadette, and she would see visions of Mother Mary. And in one vision of Mother Mary, she was shown that there were holy waters in the town of Lourdes. And now, today, Lourdes has become a pilgrimage spot. Thousands of people come there to get healed. Many go back unhealed. Some have miraculous healings. So they made a survey and they spoke to all those who had healings, and they asked them, What were you thinking when you came here? And almost all of them said, we were praying for others. That is a form of service. Just like cooking, raising children, any other outward form of service, praying for others is also a service. And so, those who surrender service, they are worthy of receiving the spiritual knowledge or higher knowledge. And then he goes on to say, those who do not care to hear or speak ill of me. Now, we meditate daily and we say to ourselves, I'm meditating so deeply, I'm not seeing the light, I'm not worthy of contacting God. But this is not true, because God, His love is so deep, so inspiring, so beautiful, that if we would contact Him and His love, we would fall at our knees and we would follow Him without a thought, having no other desire. But God doesn't want that, because God wants us to use our free will to follow Him. That He doesn't want to impose on us. He wants us that if we have desires, that we should follow our desires, take our time, and when we are ready, then we can come to Him. There was a story of a Kriyaman, and when he was 23, he grew up in the east coast of the US. He was already by 23 an alcoholic. He had a job, of course. So because of the job, he would drink only after he came back from his office. But after that, he would keep on drinking till bedtime. Then again, the next day, he would go to office. When he would come back, he would continuously drink till his bedtime. And his father was worried for him. And in those days, there was Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi. He was in the US at that time, and his father said, come son, let's go and take initiation with the Maharishi. And the son said, no, don't worry, I don't want to go because the fees are so high. I could buy a lot of alcohol with that money, so don't waste your money, father. Again the father came to him. He said, I have paid the fees for you, your brother and me. All three of us will go and take initiation with the Maharishi. And so this boy went. And he was given a mantra. And whenever he would come back from office, along with his drinking also, he would repeat his mantra after office. And then again, however drunk he may be, in the night before sleeping, again he would repeat that mantra given to him. And again doing that, his brain cells changed and he was able to help himself enroll with AA. AA is Alcoholics Anonymous. It's an organization which helps you to come out of your alcoholism. After that, he found Yogananda. Can you imagine what was his destiny? He totally gave up alcohol. He became a devotee of Yogananda, and he has never looked back since and been a deep devotee. God knows our journey. God knows from where we have come. He watches our heart. He does not see the outward garb which we wear, the roles we play, how victimized we are with our habits, they can be overcome. Because deep down inside us, there is gold. That gold is the divine spark in all of us. And so we are all pure deep down inside of us. And as much as we can keep our heart purified, open it to God's love, He is always with us. And so we should meditate, Yogananda says, not with the attitude, when will I see God? Yogananda said, you should know that you have Him already. He is already with you. As you meditate, as you pray, as you go about your duties in your life, He is already with you. There is this beautiful story of Saint Anthony, and he was a saint, and he was praying and meditating upon Jesus Christ for 40 years in a cave all alone. But he was tormented by Satan. Satan is another word for Maya. So Maya does not like us to go towards God, because Maya wants to have us keep on reincarnating, cycle after cycle, birth and death, birth and death. That's her job. So she tempts us, and the temptations are very charming, otherwise nobody would be tempted. But we have to see, we have to discriminate that I'm not going to fall for this trap. And so Saint Anthony, Satan was troubling him, and many times he would shake the cave and make the rocks of the cave fall down, and Anthony would call to Jesus all the time, all the time. One day Satan told him, there is no God, surrender to me, I'll make you very rich, I'll make you very happy. And Saint Anthony said, no, I will not leave God. And he went on praying to Jesus. Finally Satan said, now I'm going to destroy your cave, you will die. And the cave started shaking like anything. And Anthony started crying towards Jesus Christ, come to me, God, come to me. And finally Jesus Christ appeared to him. And Anthony said, where were you, Lord, all this while? I have been calling you. And Jesus smiled and said, Anthony, I was just the same with you. And Paramahansa Yogananda, in one of his talks, he says this story in such a beautiful accent, his sweet Bengali accent. Anthony, I was just the same with you. That means God is with us always, though we see Him not. And with this, we end this little satsang, and we'll have an arati. And before that, I would like to read a prayer from Whispers from Eternity. This is a book of prayers and poems by Paramahansa Yogananda. And this prayer is, I want to hear thy song in the silence of my soul. Thy gentle voice saying, come home, I often heard, but through many lives it was drowned in the tumult of my wild cravings. I have forsaken the jostling crowds of desire. In the solitude of my mind, my devotion bursts to hear thy voice. Take away every dream memory of earthly sounds that yet lurk in my mind. I want to hear thy still voice, ever singing in the silence of my soul.